Ooh.
Protests.
What is it good for?
Everything. Protests.
Garbage. Getting shit
Everything.
done.
Protests. Whoops.
Oh yeah, we like to retire at a reasonable age.
Again, sorry.
Oh, I'm in the thing. It ended.
Oh, jeez. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, one and all, to Nobody Asked.
Yay, I love it here. It's my favorite. Yay. Here's some gentle sounds of snapping
Oh,
and clapping.
please, stop. You're too kind. Oh, my goodness. You embarrass me so. Welcome to Nobody Asked with your two incredible, your two beautiful, your two intelligent and humble hosts,
Ooh.
Maria.
Oh, that's me. I've been here the whole time.
And Colin. Oh, that's me. I've been here the whole time. Today we've got a topic for you. If you're French.
Oui.
Oh, oui? Uh-huh. What are you doing in my country, you stupid person? Why do you ask for things when you come to the restaurant? Why are you not unhappy all the time? I am French. You know? It's a podcast about the protests in France, about the increase in the age when the French are allowed to claim their full pension benefits from their social safety net, which makes them communists. But it's fine.
Obviously.
We like them. It's all
How
good. Right?
dare you have the government assist you?
They help us with the weaponry. It's all good. Some people have turned it into a little bit of like the laborers versus white collar argument. What's up with that? And yeah, that's what we're talking about.
All right. Sounds good. I like
Did
it.
I miss anything? Oh man! Hello to Susie, Barbie, John DeLong. Said Susie already. Ashley. And Nobody Asked the Show. Thank you all for coming to
here.
Thank you all for coming to the show. Susie B, 7% French. Well, if you don't mind, Susie, why don't you reach out to that 7% and go, oh, it'll be good.
I mean, this is one of those times where I think if you're French, you should be a little bit proud, though, you know?
Yeah, dude.
From an American perspective, being French is not usually a positive because it just feels like they always just let us down from an American perspective. But right now, they're kind of the shit, in my opinion.
Except for the thing is that they're the shit in response to other French people. Ah, nuance. Strange.
Well, you know,
Is
legislators.
Emmanuel Macron really French? I mean, his last name is almost a pastry, so it seems like he must be. But who is to say? Welcome to Nobody Asked, everybody. We're so happy to have you here. Do you want to do some life updates, or I don't actually really know what I would. No, I got some. Yeah, sure. Life updates.
You know, life's good.
Nice.
I don't know if I have a full-on life update. I do have just a fun thing I want to show you. Let's see, where did I hide it? Oh, here it is. You're gonna like this. Barbie has made some sourdough. Look at those
Very
sourdoughs.
nice.
And she threw cheese on one of them, and it's got a different shape. I don't know. But either way, it looks delicious. She has workers in her house, and she is giving these to the workers. I mean, that's some serious benefits. Maybe if they were giving delicious bread to the French worker, they wouldn't be so bad about having to work for 2 extra years.
That is pretty cool.
It's like a pizza party, but better.
It's like a pizza party. I've been rescuing my starter for the last couple of days because I neglected it for 2 weeks while I was in Canada being water. So had to come back and apologize profusely to my starter and whisper its sweet nothings until it agreed to be worthy of making bread.
Indeed.
So
Indeed.
What else has gone on? I did some more stand up on Monday, and it went really good. I'm getting so much better at being in the moment at these shows, and it does feel like that really, when somebody on stage is able to do that, it really lessens the tension in the room where everyone's like, all right, he's good up there, he's able to make this happen. So I've been a lot more just kind of off the cuff, commenting on things in the room. I've kind of tamped down the energy a little bit, and then when there's big spikes in my energy, those tend to get big laughs, which is fun. Been ad-libbing a lot, and then I have actually found a few, comedians talk about these lines where when a joke doesn't work, you have a few lines that brings the audience back, because when a joke doesn't work, the audience knows, and that builds a tension. And tension is a friend of a laugh, right? If you can release that, it releases into a laugh. So you can find these lines where when your jokes don't work, you can kind of use it and get a bigger laugh after. And I've gotten a couple of those, which is fun. Basically, what I do, Barbie asks, have you brought the water flow on stage? I think that's what's happening here. I also brought this flow. What's up? So like sometimes a joke will half work, and I've never tried it before, but it gets a big laugh if I say something to the effect of I keep doing that joke and it never works. It's just funny that a comedian would keep trying to tell a joke that isn't funny. And so that brings out a laugh. I've gotten some good laughs with that. And then also when there's small crowd reactions to things I say, sometimes not jokes, right? If I'm mellow and then there's one person that's like, ha ha ha, and I point at them and I go, what's up, dude? Right. And I get like really high energy. It breaks things up. So things are going good. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of meta laughs lately on my jokes. Like the comments on the jokes themselves are really working. The jokes are getting joke laughs. Mm-hmm. And then I'll get a bigger pop with some other stuff. So things are going good. Comedy going pretty good right now. I'm on a good little streak. I'm having fun. Every time that I go, I'm like, I would like to do more comedy immediately. Can I have some more comedy now? But I keep going with a friend, and the friend might not be having quite as much fun as I am, and is kind of like, I would like to leave. So, whoops. We leave anyway, and we get to Chipotle. How's that? So
it's a different kind of joy.
Yeah, different kind of joy. So yeah, comedy's going good. Life is good. My name's Colin. I got a new shirt.
Nice.
Woo! Today's episode is sponsored by Head and Shoulders Clinical Strength shampoo for dandruff. That's what it's sponsored by. Head and Shoulders Clinical Strength shampoo for dandruff. Start buying black shirts again.
Really?
Look at that shit, dude. Oh, you see any friggin' flakage? No, you don't. And I got long hair, okay? The amount of dandruff I usually have is directly proportional to the amount of hair that I have, but not right now. I'm using that clinical strength, that blue bottle, okay? Dark blue bottle of Head and Shoulders. And you know what's crazy about Head and Shoulders is I never apply it to my shoulders.
Not on purpose. Barbie says it'll burn your retinas out.
What?
Why are you washing your retinas?
Yeah, stop putting it on your retinas. Classic Barbie right there. I also have seborrheic dermatitis face wash that I use on my eyebrows, and now I don't have as much flakiness in my eyebrows. So now I can also wear black shirts under my eyes, which is really
that's important.
It's very important. So today's episode is sponsored by them. Did they pay us? No. Did they make my life slightly better? Absolutely.
That's great.
Susie B says, get goggles. What?
So you don't burn out your retinas.
So you don't burn out your retinas. I follow now. I get it. Man. What state do I look like I'm from?
I don't know. Colorado? I don't know.
Okay. I've gotten 2 Colorado. I've gotten Colorado and I've gotten Seattle specifically. Not Washington, but Seattle. So anyway, when I open the sets, I used to say, I don't know if you can tell by my vibe, but I'm from Mississippi, which is obviously an oversimplification, but I'm not going to explain my life. It would take too long, right?
Barbie's in Colorado too.
What's up, Barbie? Woo, Colorado. All right, Colorado's fine, right? That works. And I would originally start it like that. But I don't know if you can tell by my vibe, but I'm from Mississippi. And it wouldn't get a laugh because my vibe does not say Mississippi. But then I'd say, I already fucked up the joke. And then I would go, I don't know if you can tell by my vibe. And that would get a joke. I've revised that to just asking the audience if I look like I'm from Mississippi, which will either get a shrug or a no. And then I fist pump and I fist bump somebody or high five someone. And then I take a long pause and then I say I'm from Mississippi, and that gets that does it too.
Even though you're not from Mississippi.
Hey mom.
Your parents live there.
You've got to do. I lived there also, mom.
Oh, you're right. There were some moments. There were some points in time where you did.
Yo, mom, where am I from?
You're a world traveler.
Okay. Well, try and make that funny, okay?
Oh.
Everyone's like, oh, yeah. You know what's the friend of comedy is nuance.
Oh, yeah, probably not.
Oh, okay. So we make Mississippi jokes. Yeah,
but you can also be a military brat.
Is to just Barbie says her uterus.
Barbie's got the jokes.
It's too many words to be like, I am not from Mississippi and I would never want to mislead any of you, but my parents do live there, right? Guess what else I say? I say they live in a trailer, but they don't anymore.
No. I mean, he lives really in an RV, so it wasn't even a trailer.
It's a fucking same thing, okay? And then I say, to add insult unto injury, my parents live in a trailer park, right? And yet they have the gall to ask me how I live or how I stand living in a studio apartment. But my parents' trailer, the cave has the roof has sort of caved in from all of the repeated hurricane abuse. And so by comparison, it's much easier to stand in the studio apartment. It's all for a stand joke. And that gets a meh laugh. Okay. It's not a good joke. But then I say, my apartment also doesn't have wheels. And that line crushes. Comedian. All right.
Well, at least that part was true.
You know what? You're not getting invited to my comedy. Okay. Because if I have a fucking independent fact checker on my stand-up, then I can never do stand-up about where I'm from. Oh, I'm not from Utah. I lived there for 3 years. Oh, I'm not from.
I mean, it's probably 10.
No, I did not live there for 10 years, Mom. Okay. I lived there for 3.
Me.
Yeah, it was you that lived there for 10. Yeah, we're different people.
Was it really 10? It was a while. It was close 10. To 10. Yeah.
It was nearly 10. Oh, boy. Barbie says, are you insinuating your parents are trailer park trash just for a laugh? No, Barbie. I'm saying that they're trailer park trash.
And really, we were RV park trash. It wasn't even a trailer park. It was less than a trailer park.
It was so bad. Yeah. Oh, I say that too. I say, and not a nice trailer park like they don't have stairs. Bang.
We had stairs-ish.
Bang. Sometimes.
They just swing out. They just swung out of the bottom.
No, but they didn't always. Sometimes you didn't have stairs, Mom.
They would get stuck. We had to whack them with a hammer occasionally because they would just seize up.
This is what I'll say next time I'm on stage. Not a nice trailer park. My parents sometimes had stairs, and then that'll get no laugh because they'll be like, what does that even mean to sometimes have stairs? And then I will clarify the technical specifications of the RV you don't own anymore.
Fine. But we live in a house
now. In France, there are some protests going on.
Indeed.
In France.
This is like the 6th set of protests this year, and it's only March.
It feels like they're all related, though, you know?
It does. It's really been continuous as far as I'm concerned. But I don't know, maybe, is it the difference between a strike and a protest? Because in a strike, man, people aren't showing up to work. So
I would say a strike is a form of protest.
Yeah. But
Square, rectangle, rhombus type thing.
True.
Okay. So yeah, man, France, lots of stuff going on in there. But here's the deal. France is a country with a social safety net, something that we as Americans can only dream of being created for our children's children's children if they become part of the 1%. And but there, it's part of the way of life, like the same way that we consider guns important to our way of life, or freedom of.
I'm just gonna hit the mute button.
Who is it? Or guns. All right. Hey guys, sometimes your mom takes a phone call while she's on a podcast. And that's kind of the nature of having a live show, right? She's going to unmute herself now. And she's not going to unmute herself. She's going to put herself on no video. But what's nice about this is that I know that my mother has the confidence in me to entertain people that are almost entirely her fans for however long this phone call is. And so let me just bring you back to I've got a little life story. Man, good times. So while I was going to MIT, I was sent to the Committee on Discipline twice, both for things which are, in my opinion, a bunch of nonsense. The second time was way funnier than the first time. The first time was kind of weird. And the reason that I was sent to the Committee on Discipline is that at the time, I was the social chair for my living group. All right. Good times being the social chair for my living group. And we invited a sorority. Hi, Mom.
Hey.
Hey.
Your dad's getting our taxes done because
Okay.
they got real complicated this year for some reason, and he needed my driver's license, and I just didn't want anybody who could lip read to see me reading my.
Put it down.
You can't see it. There's
a whole code on the back of it.
It's the back side. You can't see that.
Yeah, but
the green screen won't let you see it. But yeah, I didn't want me to just recite my license number, so people could see with my mouth. So anyway, finish the story.
No, sorry to tell you, but now I've begun a story. So we had invited the living group. We had invited a sorority, and we were not a cool group of guys. We were called the Board Game Frat, which is not a positive superlative, but we were on the come up, and we would make these social events that were huge to-dos. They were themed. This one was themed after pirates, and we would have events. So you couldn't drink at my fraternity, and so for the pirate themed thing, we'd brought in one of those inflatable pools into our central hall, and we'd put different landscaping features in the pool, and we'd made these pool noodle things that held cups, and instead of cups of beer, they had pickle juice and stuff in them, and we called it Battle Pong, and it was like playing Battleship but beer pong. Great idea. Also, one of the brothers made a VR game, which is not a small to-do, in which you put on the VR goggles and you walk the plank off of a pirate ship. Boom! Theme. A lot of fun. It also gives you a bunch of vertigo. Fun times, right? And so there was a lot of money invested into this social, and so we made sure to check with them weeks in advance and days before, just making sure we've got everything set up. Just want to make sure that you're coming for the social event. And then we got stood up by an entire sorority. I mean, no one came. No one let us know they weren't coming, but apparently someone had bought tickets to a violin recital or some nonsense, and they decided to go to that rather than this incredible mixer that we had planned. And I was livid because it does take a lot of planning to do these things, and there was money, and the brother that made the VR game was disappointed. Obviously, it just sucked, and especially to not get told. And I was so mad, and fraternities, man, sometimes they're about lifting each other up and understanding what people need. And so people asked me, like, is there a way that we can turn this into a positive? And we thought, and this is how we went to MIT. We were geniuses. This is how we were really cooking on all cylinders, is that I thought, you know what? It's 2017, okay? This fraternity prides itself on not being sexist or falling into the stereotypes of fraternities, of like old fraternities and whatnot. A lot of social progress has been made. And, I think it's time in the year 2017. You know how fraternities have prank rivalries with each other? I think we should start the world's first sorority fraternity prank war. Oh, genius idea. Good job, Colin. You know who's going to take it great? That sorority. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go over to the sorority house. We know they're not there. They told us, right? We're going to go over to the sorority house and we're going to make sure they know it's us, right? We're not trying to do anything bad and then get away with it. We want to make sure they know that it's us that did it so that they can get us back, So how do we indicate this? What if we put a pirate head on their front doorstep, like a little skull with an eye patch and with the little fucking tri-tip hat with the skull and crossbones on it? What if we put that on their front doorstep? So they're like, oh, with the pirate theme. It's the people that invited us to a giant mixer that was pirate themed and told us all genius, right? And then let's fucking, I don't know why we did this, but we put all these CDs around it that had all sorts of like weird pirate puns on them. And and the CDs all had my album on them. So that's a little fun detail. They never knew because they never put them in the computers because they thought that they had viruses on them, which was fair. That of all the things, right? So that was how we let them know that it was us. And then in their front little green area, we were like, okay, we got to come up with a prank. They had this like bush in their central green area. We stole the bush.
A whole bush?
We stole a whole bush. Okay. Stole the bush, derooted it. We put the grass or the dirt back down and kind of flattened it out. And we planted it so brazenly in our front yard. It did not fit. Our front yard was grass. There's the bush. It was not. So we stole their bush. Hilarious, right? There's the beginning of the prank war. I mean, pretty chill. We'll buy you a new bush if we accidentally kill it. I thought it was fun. They did not. They reported us to MIT, the school, and said that we had threatened them by putting a head on their doorstep. So I think that they saw the pirate head and they saw the sort of long tri-tip and they thought it was like a horse head in The Godfather. And so they thought we were threatening them with the head. And to be fair, it was a skull, right? So that they thought it was a death threat, which I think was maybe reading into it a little bit. And then they said that the CDs had viruses on it and that we were trying to get them back for not coming to the mixer, which is like, it's weird because like we were trying to do it in good fun, but they were like, these men are gonna kill us. So you see things have gotten out of hand quickly, and they never prank us back, by the way, which was disappointing.
What about their bush?
Wait till the end of the story.
Oh, okay. Too soon.
So the Committee on Discipline gets it, and the Committee on Discipline is familiar with me, and so they know the vibe. And here, credit to MIT where it's due, which is it's very rarely due. They got this report and were rolling their eyes so hard at it. I mean, they were like, "Oh yeah, it's a death threat." Yeah. So they asked us what was going on. We told them essentially exactly. We were like, "Yep, it was us. Absolutely, it was us. It was a pirate head because we just had a pirate mixer. We were trying to start a prank war." And the Committee on Discipline was like, "You guys are fucking idiots. If you think that they're going to engage in a prank war with you, they're a sorority." And I said, whoa, that's sexist. And they said, we're right though. And I was like, yeah, you are. So it's fine. They made me write an apology to them, which I did hide a message in, as I'm prone to do.
Yes,
so I did hide a message in that apology. It ruined a friendship of mine with somebody in that sorority. But my favorite thing was the entire time we were going through the Committee on Discipline process, we were like, they've never mentioned the bush, like ever. The bush is in our front yard right now. They never noticed we stole the bush. We had it until I graduated. We always had this bush. We eventually took it out of the front yard because it was an eyesore, but we were like, we couldn't bring it back because we thought that it would tell them that we did more stuff. They just forgot they had a bush in the front yard. An entire sorority.
Was it a sizable bush?
No, I mean, it was like dwarf sized.
Oh, so it wasn't a huge bush that would be like,
no,
really.
It wasn't huge, but it was a bush. And we had it. And it was unsightly. And I don't know, maybe they thought their landscaper came in and removed it or something. But man, good times. So, yeah, we got Committee on Discipline. The sorority accepted my apology and they didn't notice that there was a hidden message in it. But my fraternity noticed and the Committee on Discipline noticed, and they never told the sorority. My fraternity tried to discipline me again and get me to write a second apology. And then they were cautioned against that because I will just make the message more and more hidden. The first one was not hidden, just for the record.
It was like the first word of every sentence, right?
First word of every sentence said, like, I did what I mean, and I mean what I did, bite me. And it got progressively more obvious that something was wrong with the sentence structure because the second to last sentence, bite me, the second to last sentence was, bite my tongue is what I should have done. I mean, who talks like that? They accepted it, you know?
And then the sentence after that, you somehow started with me?
Yeah, me and my fraternity apologize profusely, something like that.
Okay. That one you made work a little bit better, but that's funny.
Oh, yeah.
That's funny. Still a weird sentence.
Oh, still weird. Yeah. I wanted them to find it.
Especially for an English major.
Much like the bush.
What's wrong with this?
Much like the bush.
Indeed.
And yet, these dense motherfuckers at Sigma Kappa. What are you going to do? We stole your bush, okay? I'm pretty sure the statute of limitations is up. We stole your bush. You saw a Jesus-looking motherfucker up in your yard like, whoa.
You didn't look like Jesus back then.
Nah, man. No, I did not.
You look like a proper fraternity dude-ish. Actually, I mean, kind of.
Just looked like a guy. Just a guy. Hey, guys, in France, there are some protests happening. And, it's a social state. And much like freedom of speech and guns are important to the identity of America, the idea that the working populace of France pays money to support the retired pensioners of France is integral to the idea of being French. It's like the way that society pays you back for what you've given to France. And it is core to the identity. You're taught it from a young age, much like we're taught to pledge to a flag or whatever. And it is, I think, 14% of the GDP of France goes to paying for the pensions of those used to be above the age of 62, which is much lower than any other European country. But it is also, again, core to the identity of the country. Well,
yeah, like what I think a quote that I saw was that we work hard, pay high taxes, retire young with a high standard of living. Like that is the deal. You pay the taxes, you work hard, you do all that so that you can have the good life at the end.
Yep. And at the time that you're working, you're doing that in order to support the people before you. And it's just a way of being, and it's their way of being. But for the last 40 years, every president of France has had something to say about the pension process because lifespans are increasing in France significantly. And because it is such a large part of the budget, it is one of the main considerations for any political occupier of the highest state of the country. And the amount that this this social program costs is increasing. And so for years now, Emmanuel Macron,
Macron.
By the way, they have a president and a prime minister, which feels like double dipping to me. Like, have one. Okay. Oh, you have a king too? Sheesh. They don't. Famously.
That's funny. It's funny because in one of the protests, they were chanting, we cut off Louis XIV's head. We can do it again, Macron.
Yeah, they always go there.
Yeah,
those French. I know. I don't know anyone else that would be that politically aggressive. So it has been part of his platform for a significant period of time, including his last re-election campaign, that he was going to raise the age of retirement. And now we've come to that place. It was delayed by COVID significantly, but a vote was going to be come to on Thursday of last week.
I believe so. Yeah, it was a week ago. Yeah.
And it was becoming clearer and clearer that Emmanuel Macron did not have the votes to make this happen. And so he initiated a process called Article 49, subsection 3, which allows the government to force passage of a bill without vote unless Parliament votes on a vote de censure motion of no confidence.
I wonder if they tried to do that.
So it's like a little. Oh yeah, he did. So it's like you open yourself up to the vulnerability of your entire legislative branch dissolving in order to avoid having to go through the vote. It's basically like, we're going to put through this minority effort, and if you really don't want it to happen, then dissolve the government, bitch, is what they said. And so they did that. They pushed that through 49-3. There were 2 votes of no confidence. The second one did nothing. The first one actually came way closer than I expected. If 5 people had flip-flopped, shit would have gone down. Wait, no, 10 people had flip-flopped. Shit would have gone down. So, whoop. It was spicy. But it didn't go through. The government still exists. And now the retirement age will be 64. Still pretty low. But not the agreed upon social contract of the French. And so what do the French do better than any other country on this planet, I think?
It would seem.
They fucking riot, dude. It's pretty impressive how quickly they organize. It seems to be all of the trade unions of France have agreed to strike and protest. Lots of fires in the streets, lots of trash piling up in half of Paris.
Lots of trash.
It smells better than usual. Yeah, like garbage.
I have been there. I don't remember the garbage smell, but yeah, here right now they've got the garbage packed, shoulder high. It's like 6,000 tons of garbage because those striking happen to be those that would pick up the garbage. We've got people that I guess control the power plants. Some of them are doing it. Various transportation people are doing it. So there's like all manner of people teachers as well. So we've got schools that are shutting down. We've got garbage in the street. The train routes are disrupted. You've got, sometimes some of the ports are being blocked off, and the airport. It's really difficult to get to the airport right now. The flights are still going, but you got to figure out how to get there. So,
yep. So it's really just quite a hullabaloo.
It's quite a hullabaloo
for 4 days, 5 days now. I mean, there have been protests for months, actually.
Yes.
But they've really ramped up now that it's been pushed through in this sort of undemocratic way. 2/3 of people in France oppose the measure, And this is kind of where I think that we start to barble around some questions here, which is, I think that governments sometimes need to push through unpopular legislation for logistic reasons. And is this the correct use of that sort of thing? I mean, governments do sort of sometimes need to do things that the people don't want, because the people don't see the negative impacts of things, right? For example, most people don't want to give up gas guzzling trucks, right? They're fun. You can put lots of stuff in them.
They feel like part of America, right? Your pickup
like part
truck
of America, right?
So
Most
American.
people don't want to replace laborious jobs with automation. However, this would be good for for the economic output of the country, but also for rapid progress in innovative sectors, right? There are things that governments need to do which are theoretically opposed by the people. However, if you continue down the path of not legislating them, people would much prefer it to the alternative, which is, the dissolving of the social safety net in France. I mean, really, if you think about it here, there are many things that we don't like that our government does, which, because they're sort of grandfathered in as like, this is just what governments have to do, we don't protest them. And we all agree, like, yeah, it just has to be at this level. And then there's debate on what the level is. But like, can you imagine trying to start taxation? It would be a real fucking pain in the ass, because yeah, the government needs money for roads and education, right?
Apparently, but only roads.
Taxes suck, but we need them.
I mean, they suck.
Try and get people to elect to give taxes. I mean, it's not going to happen. So
it'll be difficult in America because it's really hard to convince people of the benefits of doing so. On top of which, it's hard to convince people that the person who you should trust to make those decisions to help everybody is our government, when they have proven repeatedly to be corrupt because of the way our system is designed, with lobbyists and with, many other things that have, make shit not really work the way it's supposed to. It's an interesting question. Is this the hill to die on, moving from 62 to 64? I will say they had raised it previously in 2010, I believe, to 262 from 60. So it was even lower. And they don't seem so mad about paying taxes if they know that it's going to give them what they need, right? You just need to make it make sense. And I think what they're really mad about is the way that it went about. It wasn't voted on. They elected their legislators to do the will of the people, and this isn't the will of the people, but it's not solvent, right? That's the issue. Is you've got people, like you said, living longer, and you don't have the same work base that you used to have. And I mean, it's literally the exact same problems that we're seeing in America. So we saw after COVID, we had a lot of people working from home, and in France, they've always found it to be important to have a good work-family balance. And that just is even brought home even further after COVID, when people were home more. And it's like, I'm not going to give up this thing anymore for somebody else to benefit from my work. And you put on top of that, this idea in France that withholding labor is a protected civil right, which is an interesting idea. Nobody can make you go to work. You are allowed to protest by not going to work.
Yep.
And I mean, it's kind of amazing when you think about it that way, that this is a legitimate form of protest. And then, America is a much bigger country. We got 50 states, and they're huge. So France is a much smaller population to try to get everybody on board for. And that's kind of what you need to have a general strike. The idea of a general strike is one that is big enough to actually disrupt the economy. And that's what they're trying to do here. Let's disrupt the economy. And, your workers are important, and what they want is important. So do not abuse them. And most importantly, don't abuse, the ones that should be abused the least, which are, the people that are at retirement age. They've done their job. They've done their work. They've given to France already. Why are you saddling more work on them right now? And so it's a lot easier to get that solidarity in France, because in America, if you start having strikes where you're disrupting transportation or you're not getting your garbage picked up, some people will have some solidarity with you, but a lot of people will be annoyed because now they have to find a different way to get to work. And now it takes 2 hours longer because they can't go the way they used to be able to go because you guys have blocked the highways. So now you're being inconvenienced. You stop even thinking about, the trials and tribulations of these workers that are protesting. You're just thinking about your own inconvenience, where in France, they don't think that way. They're like, yeah, I'll find the extra 2-hour way around in solidarity with these people because we all need to take care of each other, which is interesting.
It is interesting because whenever you meet French people in France, it seems like they would never have solidarity with a single being on earth. You're like, it's so. I watched a video recently. So there's this character on YouTube who he's a sommelier, a wine sommelier, and he goes around to different places. He's just got, I like him. He's got a super positive attitude. He's Korean. He speaks like 8 languages. And so sometimes he'll travel and then try wines in places where only certain wines can be tried. And there's this video of him. He speaks French. He's in France ordering wine. And he's next to a table of British tourists who also speak French. And they're all speaking French to the waiter. And he's being like, here's how to get service in France. And he's just like, even though this is the most happy-go-lucky guy, when he's speaking to French waiters, he's like, hey, where is all of my things? You've got to be so mean. Anyway, I don't know what's up with the French.
Okay, I have more. I'm more.
I just think that the whole process of French, of French Revolution and protest is very interesting here. But also, sorry, I just wanted to briefly respond to Susie. Susie saying they should gradually increase the age. The proposal does gradually increase the age. It'll be 64 by 2030. So it's similar to what we've just gone through with Social Security. Where is this the last year where it increases to 67? It's been.
How do I say this? It depends on what year you were born. So if you were born between this period and this period, then you can take retirement at this age, and then it gradually increased until at this point was 67. So it was a little different way to do it.
But it ends at 67 now. So a new piece of legislation would have to go through. So if you're turning 66 this year, you have to wait till next year, is the vibe of it. So it does seem like the legislation generally does it gradually, but
they're also implementing it right away. It's like by the end of the year, this is going to happen, period. And so they might be implementing, the 60, moving from 62 to 60. I don't know. They made it sound like it was going to the start of it is happening right away. To me, that was the way it read. Like, this is happening by the end of the year. That's the way I read it.
Well, the beginning of the transition.
The beginning of the transition. Yeah.
Yeah. So it might be 63 next year, and then it'll be 63 for 10 years, and then 64.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Let's see, what else? Oh, here was the other part that was interesting, is that they've also made it so that you had to have worked for 44 years in order to get your full pension. Mm-hmm. So, 64, is around where you would retire if you've worked full time, since you were how old? Since you were 20, I guess. But what if you didn't? What if you had a break to have children or to go to school? Like if you went to school and you weren't done at 20, then, 60, you're not going to be ready at 64 because you haven't worked for 44 years. So when we say 64, it's not really 64. If you're a woman, it's going to take you longer, more than likely, because generally women bear the brunt of child rearing. And yeah, if you went to school.
You don't think that family leave is included in those 44 years?
It isn't. Or you could have had an illness. I mean, there's so many different things that could have, given you some sort of a gap in working. But either way, it's 44 years. So there's that. That was another part of it, which is interesting because I've never thought about it that way. It's like, okay, you've given your country and your economy this many years of effort. Now we will give you a pension. It's just an interesting way to think of things. I've never even considered it that way. Another thing right now, which is interesting, is like if you look at any of the footage of the riots, there's police everywhere. You know, they're not given any days off right now because of the protests, and they bounce between looking incredibly scared and being giant butts, which is what you would expect. You've got, you know, all that trash piled up in the street, and you've got people just throwing the trash at the cops, just bags of garbage being chucked at police officers that have their little riot shields up. I don't know, man. It's kind of weird. And everything's on fire. Cars and garbage. Lots of cars and garbage on fire. What are you looking at? The 44-year thing?
Yep. Well, I'm also looking at the child rearing increase. This is so much stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll just, you know.
But individuals who have raised 3 children for at least 9 years are entitled to a 10% pension increase.
Oh.
So that's a big incentive to have that third kid, man.
Okay. I mean, that's interesting. That's something I've never heard before, but nice.
Yeah. It's all very, very strange.
Yeah, there was a lot of weird stuff when it comes to some of the other pension rules too, about, you know, if the last 2 years you've been at a desk job. It's like, why does that suddenly make you eligible for early retirement if you've been at a desk job for the last 2 years? I get real confused about it. I don't know if that's for like first responders, so like nurses and paramedics and firemen. If they've been at a desk instead of doing the regular job, then they're eligible for early retirement. I don't know. There was just some weird stuff in there that I was like, I don't know how to interpret this information. So I don't know that those are really the big issue. Really, it's increasing it without a vote happening is the big deal. But also, it doesn't seem like these protests are going to work. I'm going to be honest. It doesn't look like it. Because, you know, Macron said, I don't care if I have to be the bad guy, if I have to have the lowest approval rating ever, if it means this happens because it's what the country needs. Because basically they can't pay the bills the way it is now. There's not enough workers to support the people that need a pension, which was always the risk, right? It's why we have so many laws that are weirdly popping up in America to try to increase the population, it seems like.
Yeah, man. It's almost like an entire economy which relies on sustained growth of domestic product is eventually going to hit a wall if innovations no longer improve growth, which would be strange.
Will the machine eat itself? Yes. Yes. And I guess, do we want to talk about what's going on in America right now with regards to sort of the same ideas of increasing?
Of course.
Of course. So right now, as we've said, the retirement age for full retirement is 67. You can collect retirement at 62, but you're going to get it at like 75% of what full would be. And it's going to stay that way. It's not like once you hit 67, you can now bump it up. That's what it is now. So you're agreeing to taking less for a longer time, I guess, and hoping that the math works for you. If you live longer than 12 years, it won't. But,
Longer than 12 years after 62?
I think, but it could be after 67. I haven't actually sat and done the math. It's not complicated math.
A question.
So here's some interesting statistics. 1 in 4 Americans over the age of 65 work. So 25% of people that could potentially be collecting retirement are still working.
Way lower than I expected.
It's lower, but it's not nothing.
It's definitely not nothing. It's not like I want it to be higher. It's that in this country, with the savings that people have and the retirement that people have and the destruction of the pension and the rise of the 401k, I would have expected it to be over half.
Well, there are some statistics that are not so friendly. So half of older Americans dip into their pensions to help their adult children. So, being a millennial sucks, right? They're and so sometimes you got to go to mom and ask for help. And the only place mom has and dad have any extra money is in their retirement fund if they have one. And so they're not going to have that retirement if they've given it to their children, and their children might never be able to pay it back. So there's, some loss that's happening there for half of all older Americans. Half. That's astronomical to me. 25% of retirees get 90% of their income from Social Security. So that's a quarter again. So that means that we said a quarter of them have jobs. Now there's only a quarter of them that are getting all of their money just from Social Security, which is still kind of a lot because that's not enough to live on, generally speaking.
Yep.
But it sounds like half of. I mean, I think it varies based on what you put into it, but I forgot to look that up. I think I decided I was done. 50% of retirees have no retirement. It's terrible. They don't have one. So this is all they're relying on because they have nothing else. They don't have a 401k. They don't have a pension. They have nothing. So they are either going to have to keep working, or they're going to have to be using some other form of government assistance, or they're just going to be trying to get by on this. I mean, definitely there are people, that are using Social Security that also have to go get food stamps because the price of rent is eating up, 85% of what they're getting paid. So you don't have that much to, do anything else with. 50% live on less than $25,000 a year. So that's around $2,000 a month. That's what they're living on for half of retirees. I don't know what the other half are living on, but that's not very much money, man. I guess if you were lucky enough that you own your house, you bought it back in the day, for a small amount of money, and you don't have giant health issues that have all these mitigating issues, maybe you're doing okay. But it just depresses me how badly we treat our older Americans. And I think what depresses me more is there's definitely a movement to cut some of the funding for Social Security and for Medicare.
Yep.
Right now, Medicare, I mean, my mom's on it, right? She's like, oh my gosh, I just went in and I added this plan to it, this Part B or whatever to it. And because I had diabetes, I now pay only this. Like she somehow is paying less than she was before. She's found the magical, situation, and it's actually working out well for her, which is nice. But I mean, I just feel like, why are they paying anything? It just makes me crazy. It makes me crazy that Social Security income is taxed, because to me, it's not income, right? Theoretically, you've paid into the system. Why are we taxing the pension? This is not enough money. I just don't get it. To me, we treat them terribly, and I hate it. I don't know if you remember seeing Biden's State of the Union address, where he brought up the issue of Social Security and Medicare. And, he said, some Republicans want Social Security and Medicare to sunset. I don't want to call out any names. I guess it was specifically Rick Scott of Florida that had some terrible proposal, but there was not agreement amongst all Republicans about this issue. And so, we got Marjorie Taylor Greene yelling, liar, in the middle of the whole thing. And then what did Biden do? He's like, oh, great. We have agreement here, right? We have agreement. So we are not going to be sunsetting Medicare and Social Security. We're going to keep it intact just the way it is. We're not going to make it worse. We're only going to make it better. Standing ovation, right? Yes, obviously, we're all in agreement. We've all heard Marjorie Taylor Greene yelled liar at the mere notion. We're all in agreement. Well, are we all in agreement, right? Because right now, the debt limit needs to be raised. The debt limit it's what it sounds like, really. It's the amount of money we can borrow to pay for the things that we have already promised that we're going to do. So to pay for Social Security, to pay for Medicare, to pay for everything, that money has to come from somewhere. And because, we have caps on payroll taxes. They're saying, oh, we won't tax anybody above this rate. And Republicans don't want to remove that tax. Nobody wants to raise taxes. And so because of that, we don't have enough money to do the things we're going to do. And Republicans are saying, well, then, we need some substantial cuts to something if we're going to approve raising the debt limit. And what they're basically doing is saying we need huge cuts to Medicare and Social Security, or we won't raise the debt limit. We'll let ourselves go into default and basically let our entire government fall apart. So nobody's getting paid. Your military's not getting paid. Your Medicare, your Social Security is not getting paid. Everything's going to hit the fan if that happens. It's not likely to happen. This is just a thing that they like to do, to make these threats. And I'm generally not against, hey, let's look for cuts somewhere. If we are spending more money than we're taking in, let's see what makes sense. But to me, you do not take it from the people that need it the most, the people you should be taking care of.
Yep.
That's me.
And it's only going to get worse, because the old people that we're talking about right now are the people from the generation that benefited from all of the housing growth and all of the economic growth, right? These are the people who, in general, the millennials and the Gen Zs, and to some lesser extent the Gen X, but I'm convinced the Gen X is just that they've just turned off their opinion faucet. They're like, oh, everything's fine. I'll just keep trudging. Oh, I'm a very sad generation. I was just left at home, and I
parented myself.
Yeah, I built a little community with the mice and the rats and the cockroaches, and I learned what a quorum was, and everything's fine. And then Gen Z and millennials are mad. But those are the people we're talking about right now that need the safety net. But soon we're going to see, a huge population of Gen X and millennials that do not have retirements, that are going to need this program much better, and which have not benefited from the same positive outcomes. So it's going to be really good.
And that's with, again, we have terrible numbers even for the boomers right now, when half of them are living on less than $25,000. You're like, how is that working? I don't know how that works.
And it's going to be even worse is that the thing that's going to collapse is housing. And that it's not that, like, that's where anyone that has any assets in the middle class, it's a fucking house. That's all it is, because we've been told to treat space as this infinitely growing medium, but it's just not worth what it's theoretically worth right now. It does not make sense what shit costs right now, but it's because it's become its own pseudo economy, and it's building itself up on the idea that it cannot grow. And then when it collapses, who's it going to hurt? The only people that ever get hurt, the fucking middle class and the lower class. It's going to be a nightmare.
It's going to be a nightmare.
It's going to be so bad.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's the alternative? One, renting is still not a good idea. Renting. But
sometimes it's what you need to do.
There's no alternative here. You want me to buy a studio apartment? I looked, okay? They're like $900,000.
Oh, that's
for
ridiculous.
A studio, okay? Do I want to live in a studio forever? No. Man, this shit is it just cannot keep working. But
no,
it can't before it really hits the fan. I will.
Interesting thought experiment here, because perhaps we have too many people in this economy, or do we not have enough? It's really a question of, depends on how you look at it, right?
I think it would be fair to say that we do not have too few, but we do have too few to, like, stagnation of birth will wreck economies, and we're seeing that in certain other countries if it doesn't happen at a curve. But also the world has enough people, and third world countries are not getting worse, so their populations are going to keep skyrocketing. We're going to get to like 13 or 14 billion. That is a sustainable number of people. It is we're right on the fucking edge with that number of people, but it is a sustainable number of people. The thing is that we need all the economies to right size appropriately, and we need governments to behave normally and to not, fudge numbers about birth rates in order to completely ruin economies across the globe.
Who's fudging numbers about birth rates?
Why don't you take one guess?
No, just tell me.
Oh, it's China.
Okay.
China. China.
So they have fewer people being born, or too many?
Too few people being born. And so all these safety nets that lift up old people that cannot work are reliant on there still being a number of people that work. And China right now is not even replacing people. It's way below replacing. There are not enough women. And they have been fudging their birth rate numbers for about 20 years, and their housing economy is already collapsing. It's all going so wrong. It's going so right if you're America and you were legitimately concerned about China being the next superpower. I think you should still be concerned, but I'm so much less concerned than I used to be, because they are fucked economically, and there's no way out. They have closed the hatch door on getting out of this situation. Well, now they might ethnically cleanse old people. I think that might happen.
Right, which is my thinking. Okay, so like when you saw the amount of propaganda that happened during COVID about vaccinations, right? At first it's like, we need to protect the old people. They're very vulnerable. They're the first ones that can get the shots, right? But then you have this other faction of people that like, this is all a lie, right? Did we need a certain number of people? Did we need more people believing it was a lie, particularly people of a certain age, to die off? Not on purpose, but, sort of on purpose, in order to correct the problem that with Social Security, because we don't have enough people potentially, but, paying into it. Was this all just a little side scheme? The propaganda machine around the vaccine. Why do we want people to believe the vaccine was a lie?
I don't think we do.
Some people do. Or do you think they legitimately believe that? There's a reason.
Wait, what people are we talking about? Republicans?
I mean, I wouldn't say Republicans generally. I would say, the QAnon type people. Why did whoever was pulling the strings there and feeding that ridiculous machine, why did they want them to believe that COVID was a lie and that the vaccine was really killing you?
If I had to guess, and it's not as fun, I would guess that they spotted a pretty ripe opportunity, like a low-hanging fruit with this vaccine, with the fact that there was already anti-government sentiments with lockdowns, with the fact that there's already a pretty strong anti-vax streak in the right, and they saw an opportunity to further alienate their base from average people. And the more that they separate people from their communities and from interfacing with normal, everyday people that don't get all their information from a QAnon board, the more that people resort to the community that they have. If they knew that the vaccine, if they really didn't know the vaccine worked and they were just trying to benefit from it. I also would not put it past them to just be dumb and just be like, the government made it, it's a space laser from the Jews,
Yeah, but initially,
they might think that.
But Trump was president when it came out, right? He was taking some level of responsibility for it, which I'm not even mad about. Take whatever level of responsibility you want. If you're trying to put it out there and get people to do it. He took the shot. You would think that would have gotten people on board, right? But it didn't. And then, it's just weird.
He also wasn't clear about the fact that he took the shot. He was coy about the whole thing. He was trying to play both sides the whole time. He obviously did take the shot. So did Tucker Carlson, so did all of them, but they were all fucking coy about it because they didn't want to alienate either base. They just wanted everyone to be their friends and to keep watching their content and, supporting their
Yeah.
bullshit.
Look over
email.
there. Be mad at those guys. I'm the one here that's preaching the truth that nobody wants to tell you. Come on.
You see that Donald Trump raised $1.5 million in the last week on these indictment
Of course he
news
did.
emails?
Of course
Stop
he did.
giving money to him. Even if you like him, the man's got money. Okay? No one's contesting.
He says he does. So
he says he does. The tax returns say he do. Okay? He got money. He's got. Let him sell an apartment. Okay? You haven't saved for retirement, and you're donating to a guy that's about to be in prison.
okay,
Hey, man.
But isn't the whole issue, now that we've segued into Donald Trump a little bit, isn't the whole issue, and the only reason in my mind that there's an issue, because I literally do not care about paying off Stormy Daniels. The only reason it's an issue is because it's campaign finance money. Why didn't he use his own damn money if he has his own damn money? That's all I'm saying, right? That's the issue, is it's campaign finance money. Yeah. If he is as rich as he says, he should have paid her with his own money.
I mean, he's certainly not as rich as he says.
But he should be rich enough. I would think. I don't know how much he paid.
I think there might be a different reason, but...
A different reason he didn't pay for it himself?
Yeah.
You don't think it's just hubris? I mean, I didn't say hubris. I said, if he has the money, he should have used his own money. But perhaps it's hubris. Perhaps he just likes to see what he can do. I don't know.
No. We should look at his tax returns.
What, are they all out now?
Yeah.
All of them? Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
I knew some of them came, and it was like, why were you hiding these?
Yeah, like these are lame.
Why are you hiding them? Why is this
lame? These are lame tax returns. They're haircuts are part of my brand. Yeah, I'm with you. Your hair is definitely part of your brand, Trump. It's what everyone talks about is his fucking toupee. Yeah, barber. Those are tax deductible. I agree. There were such boring tax.
That's hilarious, but also I agree.
Yeah. And by the way, every business owner on earth will tell you that a lot of things are business expenses, man. I won't say on video what of my expenses are business expenses, but there's a lot of them. Okay. And they did involve my business. So you watch it.
I don't see why that loft wasn't part of your business expense. You had to build an office, right?
That's what I'm saying. Unfortunately, I did not pay for it. So
it was a gift.
It was a free expense, but I will put it on my taxes. I'll be like $0. And then the auditor will be like, he's so meticulous. We won't audit him. $200 for what now?
Patricia C wants to know if he lied on his taxes. Probably. I mean, it just depends on how much and whether I care, right? I just feel like a little bit of fudging here and there is like just normal. It's normal business in America.
It's just that we want rich people to pay taxes, right? And we definitely want our presidents to pay taxes. But, what was it that he said in that debate before the 2016 election where somebody, I think it was Hillary Clinton, said, like, Donald Trump didn't pay his taxes. And he went, that makes me smart, okay? Whoa.
Right.
I could have put in a big number. I put in a small one. Way better. And
it is.
I feel like everyone that watched was like, yeah, I mean, if you can get away with it, like, everyone does that on taxes.
Yeah, I'm not going to claim this dumb thing.
A moralist point by Clinton, which you should be able to make on a political stage. But as soon as Trump was on the stage against you, you should have been like, oh, yeah, that's not going to work here. I think we're at a rodeo right here, and I'm trying to recite poetry. So,
yeah, it goes to what all this is about, right? The idea that in America, getting away with not paying taxes is considered smart because in America we're self-centered. We focus on ourselves. I will say the younger generation each generation is doing a little bit better at looking past themselves and seeing a bigger picture. But generally speaking, it is an American thing. We look at ourselves, and when it comes to taxes, we're like, why am I paying for you? As if that's exactly how taxes work. It isn't, right? But either way, you're like, oh, you're taking money out of my pocket for everything. These are the kinds of things that we shout where you go somewhere in France, and I don't think that they say that stuff the same way, right? They're like, You know, we're paying into the pension so that we can all have a good life. This is for all of us. This is for France. This is our solidarity. We do this for France, you know, or for Sweden or whatever. You know, there's a lot of people that pay much higher. Everybody pays higher tax rates pretty much than America. Almost everybody. Yeah. And they don't complain nearly as much about it as we do because they see the benefits of it, because most places have socialized medicine. Could you imagine if your government paid your bill for everybody?
Except that we're picking up the bill for their fucking military, okay? So you watch it, you fucking Europeans. You enjoy your fucking socialized medicine while your countries refuse to defend themselves, okay? Because you got Russia right next door, and who are you paying? Who's your contract killer? Us, baby. And we're nuts. So, you know, keep lending to us. It's like, I mean, so many trees. The U.S. has leveraged the quality of life of its own people in order to accrue more power in foreign policy, and it has worked. But enjoy your socialized medicine, communists. Don't pay for your fucking military.
You right? Get to die healthy.
Let's join a treaty after a huge war in which shit went real bad. And let's join a treaty where the mutual built-up of allied defense is necessary and is a weight which must be borne by all of the countries in this treaty. And then how about every country except for one just decides, fuck that treaty, wars don't happen, wars are done now. And then we just sell that responsibility to America, which says, oh yeah, we'll take the military power, sure. Yeah, we'll take all the military power because the U.S. is betting that shit will go bad at some point. Yeah, we'll take your part of that treaty. Yeah, and then they just use it to barter with each of these countries. And who gets fucked? The American people in the meantime. But you know who will get fucked if Russia was as good of a military as we had thought they were? It would have been the Europeans, okay? But turns out Russia is a fucking dog shit country.
Okay.
Nothing.
Okay. But here you just said, okay, if we think about the two people that the two countries America is generally scared of, we've got Russia and we've got China. You just told us that China has been fudging its numbers about its population for a very long time, and we watched the hot mess that is happening with Russia and Ukraine, where one would have assumed Russia would have been able to just do this no big whoop-de-doo, and it has been over a year.
Yep, it's been over a year, and they're losing ground. I mean,
yeah, we saw them roll in, with old MREs, with, these soldiers that don't know what's going on, in old beat up tanks. And you're like, what is this military that we're all so scared? We're so scared to upset Russia. I mean, yeah, they have nukes, but I don't know, man. I don't know how scared I have to be of nukes at this point.
I mean, pretty scared.
Pretty scared, but also
I am always against mentally deteriorating old people having control of nukes. And what do we keep Trump, Biden, and Putin in control of nukes?
Yep.
Give me a fucking break.
They're too old. They're too old.
I mean, Putin is sending body doubles places. He won't let people within 20 feet of him. The man is paranoid, and he's got a button.
So.
He's got a button. Bro.
He's got a button.
He's killing pop stars, okay?
What pop star did he kill?
This was like a week ago. There's some anti-Russian pop star who was found drowned in a lake.
Weird.
I mean, he's killing everyone. Hey, Wendy. Hey, Patricia with a C. What's up? I just do have a certain degree of rage at certain European countries where you stupid Americans, you don't know how good life can be. And it's like, well, there would be no military, man. If we were all doing the shit you were doing, we would be vulnerable to these countries that absolutely have imperialist tendencies, right? I mean, China coming off of the century of shame and Russia being Russia, okay? We do need a military, but the U.S. has said, we will have more foreign power if we control all of the military, and they're right. And we the American people just don't get socialized healthcare. And
it's an interesting trade-off.
They're just placing a bet that we Americans love America so much and hate figuring out how to become a citizen of another country enough that we won't leave, even though it's better in other countries right now. And I want to leave so bad. Oh,
because you loved Montreal so much.
Montreal was pretty good. Montreal was pretty good, but also like England, you know.
I mean, England is kind of a hot mess too, though.
England, oh yeah, but it's just like it's like they're like us in the 2000s hot mess right now, you know.
Okay.
It could get worse. I'm with you.
It could get worse.
But man, but also I don't want to move somewhere where it's like all white people, you know, because that feels like it can get weird, you know. I don't want to be in like Norway. That's not my vibe. Okay, like a diverse population, and then it's like, all right, what? I mean, I'm in the most diverse city on the planet right now. Pretty good. No, I think New York should secede.
All right.
I don't know, man. Wendy H is hearing Portugal is the place to go.
Unexpected.
Portugal? Look, man, I got some friends from Portugal.
They're not it?
I ain't going. You have fun. I go to Germany.
You can go.
I go to Germany. Germany has a military too, by the way. They're one of the better ones. They're not the best, but they do have a military.
Honestly, in Germany, to me, felt the most like America when we were in Europe. Germany just felt
diverse. It is diverse. They've got some pretty lax immigration policies. A lot going on. I could do Germany, and America is basically German in a trench coat. America English is like German in a trench coat. So, I feel like we could get there.
Yeah.
Ich bin.
Or we could try to make this country better. You know.
But I don't think it's possible. I think that this country has its thing, and it will not take on more spending. It's fine. Okay, let the people here deal with it. Okay.
I mean, it will take on more spending, but there's a point where there's just no more.
It won't pay for socialized healthcare.
Oh, that's true. But I think the whole point would be that it won't pay. Yeah. You got to raise taxes if you're going to do that kind of stuff, and they're not going to do it.
Yeah, and we want here to be the center of business dealings. So they'll keep fucking cutting deals here to increase the GDP here. It's all just like, how much can we fuck with the American people before they do something? And they toe that line.
It's a lot.
I'll leave. Okay. I don't need other people to come with me.
No, but I think, we talk about the difference in, why it would be so hard to do a strike like this in America compared to in France, right? There's just a different level of solidarity. The country is different depending on where you live in it. And getting everybody to just even agree about anything feels impossible when there's so much rhetoric around it and rewriting the narrative to fit this idea of like American patriotism. Like, as long as you can convince somebody that whatever bad idea is a patriotic idea, then they're going to go for it. It doesn't have to be true. Work harder. Oh, your leg's falling off and you need to go to the doctor? Well, too bad. Go to work, because that's what you need to do as a good American. You're not a good citizen unless you're working.
Mom, did you hear that Italy is immigrant friendly now? It's a new development.
It is, because they have an older population. So they already have, so there's just not enough young people there. So they are becoming a lot more friendly. There's some parts of the country where they'll almost give you a house that is old or whatever, if you agree to fix it up and live there and be part of, their culture and their economy. They'll give you.
So I just have to be sexually harassed. All right, I'll do it.
Why are you being sexually harassed?
It's that, man, I'm going to get myself in trouble, but there are some people at the Montreal conference, and there's a stereotype in neuroscience about Italian PIs. And the
What
fact
does
that they
what does
come
PI
here.
stand for?
It's the leader of a lab. And
Okay.
the stereotype, and there's nothing good about stereotypes. But the stereotype is that they come here, they sexually harass and assault people until they get reported, and then they move to England. So they'll pay you to breed. Hey, man. Hey, I could have had a dual citizenship in Italy, but what did my mom do, you know? Came to
I'm
Utah.
Sorry. I had you in Utah instead of staying in Italy.
And but you can tell that I was freaking, gestated in Italy.
Oh, yeah.
All the time I'm like, what the fuck? You know?
You were conceived in Italy.
I was conceived in Italy, right?
Yep.
Why I like tomatoes so much.
And why I look delicious.
Like I could be Italian.
My name's Maria, but also not Italian.
Maria. And my name is Colin. Hey, Irish. Dude, I don't know. It's just the homophobia in Italy. It's just that sometimes you're just like, they seem a little bit behind socially.
They are. The racism is a little weird there too.
That's what that was what I was saying with the Italy is immigrant friendly. I'm like,
it's a different kind of racism, but it's there. I don't think it's like you feel in danger, that kind of thing, but they will throw bananas at you, which is disgusting.
Bananas?
Yeah.
At me?
No, not at you. At a black man. A black man would get bananas thrown at him.
Okay. And yeah. So that
it's kind of
it's not cool.
It's not cool. It's not cool. They think they're being funny. It's not funny to have bananas thrown at you.
Yeah.
So
and they also don't seem to take sexual harassment and coercion very seriously.
No, it's just human nature.
Which is not my favorite thing.
I'm just friendly. No, not touchy.
I'm gonna become freaking Italian Spider-Man with that shit. Oh, sorry.
I mean, this was Belgium and not Italy, but I do remember right before we were coming back to the States and we were at that little get together and this guy showed up and he's Belgian and they like to go and kiss everybody on the cheek. And, we've been largely able to avoid that, but he came to you who was like 12 and was trying to kiss you on both cheeks and you were actively like dodging the kiss. It was like, whoa, what's happening? Whoa. And it was the first time I ever saw your dad get kissed by a man.
And that's when we knew, when I was 12, that's when we knew I could deal with a pedophile.
It was just normal there. It's just normal.
Yeah. Belgians were fine. They were just so mean to kids. I was like, what are you doing? It was so strange. So many experiences where I was like, wow, I don't think they think I'm a person. Very interesting.
I mean, I was an adult there, so I did not. I
just at the Carrefour. This is the main memory was me looking at salami at the Carrefour and a Belgian being like, and like pushing me by the head away from the salami so he could get to the salami. And I was like, I'm going to kill you. I mean, I was so mad.
I do remember, okay, on our street, it was kind of curvy. And there was one point where we were coming around one corner and a kid threw a rock at your dad's car. And your dad stopped, went and knocked on the door and said, hey, man, he just threw a rock. And the dad grabbed the kid and kicked him fully in the butt. Right off the ground. Kicked him in, and it was like, your dad was very startled because, he ain't that kind of person. He was like, okay, like, I'm not going to tell if that kid does anything again. I will not inform the dad because that was, it was an aggressive, it wasn't, it wasn't a swat on the butt.
Yep. Yeah. That seems right. It was pretty funny.
Pretty funny. Right off the ground with that kid.
You remember when we did Halloween and those like teenagers or kids or whatever stole the candy from our candy bowl? Yeah. And then I was like, I wanted to run after them.
They ran too, because I opened the door right then, and we had just moved there not that long before, so I didn't know enough French yet, and I was just like, "Vous êtes mal," because I didn't know anything, which is "you are bad." That's all I had. I didn't have any French in me. I'm like, I need some good swears or something because.
Yep. In their defense, who leaves a bowl out?
In America, you can leave a bowl of candy out.
That is not true. That is not. There are so many Ring camera videos of bowls of candy getting stolen in America. Okay. That is not fucking true.
You gotta know your neighborhood.
Oh, porch pirates, bro. Okay. What are you talking about? Yeah. I was a postal carrier. Never heard about a porch pirate. Hey, whoa, all right? We all know.
Dude, one day I got hunted down by this lady because they knew it was me that delivered it, because it was my scan on it. And she's like, listen, I got this package. You delivered 2 packages that day, but I only had one. And she went into a very, she's about to go on this trip. She's not going to be back in the country for 6 weeks. And there's not time to order a new one. And it was her vibrator, and she wanted to take it on her trip with her. And she just really wanted to know where I had delivered it to her house. The scan showed up at her house. I said I put it in her mailbox. I'm sure I did. I'm like, I do not have your package. Is it in your truck somewhere? Listen, I empty that truck out every day. There's not a thing left in that truck at the end of the day because I'm responsible. They know if a package didn't get scanned, and they're like, so she's really grilling me about where her vibrator is, as if I stole her vibrator. I'm hiding her vibrator from her. Like I knew there was a vibrator in that box, but I'm like, man, people really tell me way too much as a postal carrier.
I believe it.
Somebody stole her vibrator. Wasn't me.
Hey, Susie B says, I know my friend's candy was stolen. And Patricia with a C says, no, you can't. What's up, dude? Oh, what's up?
No, you can't what?
You can't be putting your candy out in the bowl, all right? What's up, dude? I
have many times without difficulty.
Oh shit!
Nobody's ever emptied my bowl except in Belgium.
What's up, dude? Oh my gosh! Utah's governor signed a bill intended to limit youth access to social media apps by barring minors from access without parental oversight. Leave.
Yeah, we can't. I thought in Florida, parents want to have so much control of what's going on with their students. They want to be able to make all the rules. And now
unless they're working, then no parental control. Not if they're part of the economy.
True. And then here in Utah, I'm not a Utah. In Utah, we're saying, no, parents, we don't trust you to make decisions about what your children are watching. We're going to nanny state you even more than we already do. Makes perfect sense.
Dude, I can't believe house prices are going up in Utah.
Still?
Or were going up. Like, what? They're not going to have water soon, okay? It's going to be a dust bowl.
But the population is out of control there.
Yeah, and there's not enough water for that population. And the Great Salt Lake needs water, or else it will destroy the breathability of the air, which is already not great. But if the seabed of the Great Salt Lake dries out, it's going to be an unlivable hellscape. It's going to be fucking Chernobyl on the Wasatch Front. And you're buying houses there?
I'm not.
I'm not. I was like,
let's get out of Utah. Let's get out of here.
You did exactly the right thing. Seriously, if there's anywhere you want to be moving, it's probably like the least desirable states in the country.
What?
Like South Carolina,
Mississippi,
or northern Mississippi, or northern Alabama. Because if you're right on the coast, maybe you're forgetting about our little friend climate change, which is about to turn your coast into your ocean. So,
well, sure. But I'm 24 feet above sea level.
So you've got at least 15 years.
I'll be all right for 15 years. And then just so you know, northern Mississippi is full of tornadoes. So,
but tornadoes are a fake concern. Tornadoes are NBD.
What do you mean?
I mean that if you ever hang out in Tornado Alley, they do not care about tornadoes in the slightest. They're happening all the time, and they're like, "Oh shit, tornado!" Because they never do anything. It's crazy.
They do. They do stuff. They destroy.
They occasionally kill 100 people.
Okay.
Occasionally, but it is just so statistically unlikely. It was. I stayed in Missouri, and with my old boss, who I love, and I was like, you could hear the wind beating on the house. And I was like, I've never been in Tornado Alley for an extended period of time. I'm afraid of tornadoes. And the whole family was like, like how you guys treat hurricanes, right? Most hurricanes are whatever. That was them with tornadoes. They're like, why would you be afraid of a tornado? Okay. It's like being afraid of grass. They don't do anything. They just go by. It's hilarious and weird. Tell it to the Wicked Witch, says Susie B. You can't.
I'll get you, my pretty.
Man.
She did melt.
I'm just saying the places that you want to move are places with water and above like 200 feet above sea level. That's creme de la creme. I think we're like 75 feet above sea level, Ellie. Ellie doesn't know. We're pretty high up.
That's not very high. But you should be okay.
Way higher than you are.
Hey, oh, wait.
33. Oh, sheesh.
Oh, okay.
Feels like a lot more than 33.
Pretty low.
I walked down to sea level. It feels like a lot more than 3 flights of stairs. Okay.
But you're on an island, right? So
what?
You're probably not that far from the water. Height-wise.
No, I'm not that far from the water. Okay. I'm further up from the water than you are, lady. All right.
Not by much.
That's
my street. That's where my street's at. I think Marlene's actually weirdly higher and yet somehow closer to the water, which is weird. But I think she's at like 30.
That's weird for sure. Yeah. Anyway, but move places where there's water. I mean, come on.
I'm by the ocean right now.
Yeah, no, you're good. It's just that, well, the ocean isn't, by the way, is not water. Okay. It's salt water. So not useful. But you also have a ton of normal water. Mississippi's not running out of water.
No.
We're not worried about that.
Quite the opposite.
I'll move to, like Minnesota, Wisconsin, like inland, but also you get so much water. Northern New York, Maine.
Yeah. It's just those tax rates, man.
New Hampshire.
I haven't looked at all those places, but some of the property taxes in some of those places are
ridiculous. I know the upstate property taxes are bad, but also the home prices are way lower than you think. So it kind of equals out.
You'd think, but it doesn't. It's terrible. You're like, how is this, the price of the house, and yet I'm paying this much in taxes on top of it, and now my mortgage is double what it should be. Cool. All right, we are on a random tangent now.
Yeah, again, if you ever click on this video to learn about the subject that's in the title, I'm sorry.
We put it in the middle. We cover the topic in the middle, and then
put it in the middle.
Whatever.
Well, I mean, my mom had to take a call, so
it was like a minute.
We got to hear about a sorority thing. It's all good. Got to tighten up that story.
All right, you look beautiful today.
Thank you. Right. Well, let me find a song to play us out.
Okay. I mean, someday we'll finish the song. You just need to send me what I need, and I will sing it beautifully. Cookie-dookie-doo-boo-boo. You're taking a long time, Colin.
I'm just thinking. Okay. I got it. I got it. All right. So, you press the thing?
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for keeping us company. Like, subscribe, leave a comment if you want. Hit the old bell so you get notifications so you're here on time. But, showing up late doesn't make me mad either. But, thank you. And we're going to sing out, or we're not going to sing out. We're going to play an obnoxious song. Enjoy. Great. Bye.
Political vote.
I'm so slow. No. Wait, I did it now. Oh. This is classic.
Political vote. Parliamentary bill. Another political thing.
Pension reform.
This is how I'm going to put through the bill. With Article 49, subsection 3 is how I'm going to do it.
Did you know that only 8% of France is actually part of a union? Oh, okay.